Hi, guys. I don't know if you realize it, but one of my top viewed videos on my YouTube is how to request IRS transcripts online. And then one of the top comments listed under that video is, why can't I get my transcripts? I don't have a debit card. It doesn't recognize my information. I haven't filed in 20 years. My transcripts are not available. They can't verify my information. I don't know the last address that I used to file. So all of those reasons are reasons that normal transcript, online transcript process will not work for you. So if you're one of those people, or if there's any other reason you cannot get your information via the online system or via the phone system where they also need to verify your identity, to keep you from having to walk into the IRS office, I want to show you that there is another way you can get information, and not just limited copies of tax returns, copies of tax audits, copies of other people who've requested your information, copies of all kind of public information. It's called the Freedom of Information Act. The Freedom of Information Act is provided to allow the public the right to request access to records from any federal agency. It's often described as a law that keeps citizens in the know about their government. So, under any tax agency, any federal Medicare, healthcare, any federal agency that collects information, whether it's about you, businesses, home, you got a home healthcare agency and you need to know the Medicare statistics or the total payments or the results of an audit that was done on your agency or on multiple agencies in your area or whatever, all of that, most of that information is available via the Freedom of Information Act. Understand that personal information such as social security numbers and tax ID numbers may be redacted, but general information is, and actually it's not always so general. Some of it's very personal information that's available. So, federal agencies are required to disclose any information requested under the Freedom of Information Act unless it falls under one of 9 exemptions, which protect interests such as personal privacy, national security, or law enforcement. So here's a little quick video on the Freedom of Information Act.
The Freedom of Information Act, which is commonly known as the FOIA, is a law that gives you the right to access information from the federal government. It's often described as a law that keeps citizens in the know about what their government is doing. Under the FOIA, agencies must release any information that is requested unless that information is protected from disclosure by law. The FOIA also requires that agencies automatically disclose certain information, including frequently requested records. As Congress, the President, and the Supreme Court have all recognized, the FOIA is a vital part of our democracy.
All right. So, with that being said, I'm going to flip you over to why you're here in the first place, because you want to know how to get tax information, substitute return information. Say the IRS went back, you hadn't filed in 20 years, they filed 6 years for you, and now you owe $1 million. You have no idea where that information came from. Or let's say that they audited you and you sent in a ton of records that they didn't consider, and then they said the records are gone or disposed of or whatever, which has happened a lot with some of my clients. So you can actually do a Freedom of Information Act Freedom of Information Request to get the information that the IRS has in their files. So if they copied your documents, if they documented what they saw, all of those things are available in the files within the Internal Revenue Service. So we're going to specifically hone in on Freedom of Information Act guidelines for the IRS. As you can see in the top of the screen, you can access that directly. There's a link in the description of this video to get you directly to this page. Now, these are the guidelines, and I'm not going to go through every single one. You can click in and get a sample. You can get a sample Freedom of Information Request letter, but I'm going to go through some of the key points. For the library, Freedom of Information Library contains tax guidance, administration manuals and instructions, program plans and reports, non-presidential rulings and advice, training materials, and other public records, and they are available directly in the FOIA library. So here, you can actually go in here and see the information that's there. So you don't necessarily, if there's publications, notices, copies of forms, revenue rulings, all of this stuff is just available. You can just actually go out there. Small business self-employed guidance memo that tells about the program and what they do and what their rights are and how examiners should behave and those things. So this is compliance priorities post people first initiative. This was from 2020. So any of these type memorandums are out there, and you don't need a Freedom of Information request in order to get to those. Okay. So you always want to check. You can go right to forms and instructions if you need a form. You can do a search and see if the information is just available for you to download. You'd be surprised of the resources that are here. In addition to the resources that are here, the IRS does have a YouTube page. So if you go to the YouTube, and then search IRS videos, or you can just Google search IRS videos, and you'll get to the IRS's YouTube page, and it has a ton of information out there as well for public viewing. Any information, tax returns, transcript, open case files, information about charitable organizations, forms and publications, all of that is right here available on the website. Okay. IRS employee. If you're working with an IRS employee, so that's a revenue agent, an auditor, if you're calling the main 1-800 service center, you can ask them for the records you need. So they can fax you a transcript, mail you a transcript, tell you how to get it online, all of that. So you want to consider these first because they're going to be a lot faster than a Freedom of Information Act. But if none of those give you the information you need, or you're told, well, we don't have transcripts beyond 3 years. We can't give you a return transcript beyond 3 years. We can't, whatever. That's when you want to go to a Freedom of Information request. And it's important to submit the request right away to avoid delays. It is going to take some time for you to get it already. Back when I last requested one, I think it probably took about 6 weeks. That was pre-pandemic. Now we're after the pandemic. So not sure if it's, longer than that or about the same. I would expect it to be about the same. They have a whole department that's responsible to ensure that these requests are met. One thing about it, once you've submitted a FOIA request, do not submit a second one. It's just going to confuse it. And then you're going to get 2 sets of information that you don't even need. Now, here is the fastest way to submit a Freedom of Information request is through the Access portal. And again, it's telling you don't submit it more than once. And you can also do it by fax. But the portal is a secure portal that allows you to request it electronically by submitting the request right here online. And you can also check the status of submitted requests, and you can securely send and receive messages to and from the agency. So you can do that directly from the public access portal. So I'm going to click here, and you can see we get this little warning. This is only for if it's only for actual, I can't even say this. Let me just read it. How about that? By accessing and using this government computer system, you're consenting to system monitoring for law enforcement and other purposes. Unauthorized use of or access to this computer system may subject you to criminal prosecution or penalties. So in other words, don't go out here requesting stuff that you're going to not do the right thing with. This is for you to use to request information in the ordinary course of you doing your business or handling your personal tax information. If you're a professional tax person, a CPA, attorney, then you already know the code of ethics with regard to using these systems and accessing information. Now, I'm not going to walk you through this whole thing, but this is what the portal looks like. You're able to go out here and you can see the information that's available in the library. And then here you can request access to routine records, transcripts, and it gives you information. Now, here is the portal. You would sign in right here. And in most cases, you would actually sign in using your ID Me. If you don't have an ID Me account, there will be a place that you can actually go in and register for the ID Me account. Now, I actually have an ID Me account. I'm not going to go in here, but I just want to show you. So when you get here, if you have an ID Me account, you're going to go on, you're going to log in, and then I don't think it's going to log me in, but if it does, it's fine. But you can't see my stuff. So it's going to log, you would have your email address, you would have your password, and then you would log in, and then it's going to do a secure code. So it's going to give you multiple, I can't think of what that's called. What is it? Multiple something authentication. So it multi-factor authentication is what it's going to do. And it's going to verify that you are who you are by sending a text message to the phone number that you have registered with ID Me. And of course, to create an account with ID Me, you just click there and verify that. You're going to verify your identity with your driver's license, with your passport, or something that's going to verify who you are, and it's going to get you into your account. Okay, so really quickly, I want to just go back to our how to get the information, or how to submit a FOIA request. So that's one way, is to go through the portal. That's going to be the fastest way. And you're just going to go in, you're going to complete the information that you need. I'm going to show you what a form looks like in just a second. And then that's pretty much what you're going to do online as well. And then for personal and business taxpayer records, you can fax your request right to this 877 number. So there you can just go in, you can complete the FOIA request letter or form. Here is a sample letter, and it's basically, you just, literally copy and paste that right into a Word document and update it accordingly. It says this is a request under the Freedom of Information Act or Privacy Act. I requested a copy of the following documents, and you're going to bullet the documents, comma, separate the documents. You're going to list specifically what you want be provided to me. So if I wanted a copy of my tax return transcript from 2000, what's year 2023, so from 2016 to 2023, I could list that. Now, of course, your tax return transcripts for the last 3 years are going to be available on your transcript. But if you can't get it because you hadn't filed and you're unable to verify yourself to get an online account, then you're going to need to request it this way, or make contact with the IRS. But the IRS is only going to have that 3 years. So if you need anything beyond that, you're going to come out here and do a FOIA request. You'll list specifically what you need. I do not wish to inspect the documents first. In order to determine my status for applicability of fees, you should know that I am, and then you're going to say why you're requesting this. I am an individual in need of these records to provide to my tax preparer helping me with an audit. I'm an individual taxpayer who hasn't filed in multiple years, in need of transcript requests in order to file my tax returns, and I need requests beyond what's available by phone. Whatever you're going to list here. And then you'll put sample requests or descriptions. Here we go. We're a media requester, so I need it for news media, magazine, television, commercial use. I'm an educational institution requester, so I'm using it for non-commercial scientific instruction requester. So these are people who might be getting information for some kind of research they're doing, or some type of educational something they're doing, a YouTube video, whatever, but it's not a way that they're not doing it for money. So it's more for information. Now, a commercial use requester is seeking records for use or purpose that furthers the commercial trade or profit interest of the requester. And on those, in most of those cases, you're going to have to pay a fee for that information. And then other is a requester seeking information for personal and non-commercial use. So you're kind of explaining why you need this information. You can ask for statistical information. You can ask a list of all the offers and compromise by amount range done in the last 12 months. You can request all kinds of stuff. Just know that the information you request, if it's a lot, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So I would not be doing this just to be doing it. As proof of identity, because you still have to prove your identity. You're going to include a copy of your driver's license, a notarized declaration, sworn statement, etc., establishing proof of identity and right to access. Why you need the information. And then I am willing to pay fees for this request up to a maximum amount of this. Now, if you estimate that the fees will exceed this limit, you need to let them know. I estimate the fees will exceed this. However, I'm only willing to pay this, which means if there's 100,000, pages in the response and you're only willing to pay $10, then you might just get 10 pages or whatever that is, right? So this is a sample. Here is a sample if you're wanting a list of clients for your CAF. So for me as a power of attorney, I might want to know get a list of all the clients that I represent, and that way I can identify if someone's using my information fraudulently, and identify that these are not my clients and I need to release them. And then these are the requirements with regard to what the IRS must send and how much time they have to determine whether they can send it or not, and then to notify you of whether they can send it. So, of course, you'll want to read this. They are required to determine within 20 days, 20 business days, not including weekends, after receipt of your request, whether they can meet it. And they must provide you reasons if it is denied in whole or in part. And they must provide information about your right to appeal if you don't agree. Now, FOIA does permit the IRS to extend that time. If they need additional 10 days, they can request that. And it's just because whatever it takes, they do have the right to get extensions to request that. So you can come out here and read. I just want to make sure you know where to come. Exemptions and exclusions. So reasons access may be denied, and it tells you here specifically if there's something about the national defense, foreign policy, internal personnel rules and practices. Like you can't ask for an IRS employee's home address or something like that. Information exempt under other laws, social security numbers, driver's license numbers. They're not going to provide private information that could potentially allow you or someone else to be injured. So law enforcement protections, things like that. So anyway, this is where you'll come to get it. Now, let's go in here really quickly. The request must be submitted, and it tells you here exactly how to do it. State that the request is being made, why, who you are, the nature of the requester. Now, I skipped, this before to go down to the sample. So I would just copy and paste the sample, but definitely read through what the requirements are. You can mail your request to these addresses. If you do that, I would do it using a priority mail or certified mail delivery. That way and you know when that 20 days starts counting. And then you can also fax it, and that way you have a fax confirmation so you know when that 20 days starts counting. Or, as I like to do it, just go right through the public access portal. If you have the ID.me account and you've already verified who you are, that allows you to get out there and get the information as fast as possible. All right, so hope this video has been useful. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and also subscribe so that you can know when I upload new information. If there's information that I did not cover in this video, or something that is just causing you to bang your head when trying to get information from the IRS, write it down in the comments and I'll be sure to take a look. And if I can help you, I'll do another video to help with that as well. Thanks so much, and I appreciate you, and you guys have a great day.